Now from Israel's southern border is our I-24 news correspondent Pierre Kloschendler. Pierre, an Israeli woman was lightly wounded yesterday as a result of a rocket that hit in one of the communities near the Gaza border. You're there right now. What can you tell us about what happened?
Right, we're in Moshav Yakhini, which used to number about 500 residents before the massacres of October 7. Now only 70 of those residents have returned. And Maccabiah Raybi, 72-year-old, was lightly wounded from a stone shrapnel. You can see the addition to the house, which is the protected shelter. You can see also maybe an impact of some of the shrapnels that hit the external wall of their living room, and she was going toward the shelter when suddenly she felt something warm on her chest. Let's hear how she explains what happened to her yesterday at 6:15 p.m.
We heard the alarm, and my daughter called me to enter the security room. We all ran, and I was behind. It was very fast. It hit very fast. I didn't have time to get there. And then we heard the boom. The shrapnel hit me right here. I said, "Oh, I got burned." I felt the shard. I threw it out the window. Then I saw my neighbor's house was on fire. We left the protected space and saw all the damage.
I'll show you now where the impact occurred, because it's across the street actually, and she got a stone shrapnel. These are the ribbons that the police have set up here. I'll let Dean Barenboim, our cameraman, pass, and you will see the direct impact that provoked a fire on the external wall of this house. You can see the hole in the house, and people usually think that rockets is nothing, there's no casualties, it's easy to intercept with the Iron Dome, but not always, as you can see. And we'll show you the extent of the damage inside the living room of this house, which has been hit. Luckily, the residents of this house were in their protective shelter or were out of the house. And this is the damage that you can see in this living room, with all the crap on the floor. Now there's no electricity, and electricians are already repairing the electricity that was hit by a shrapnel. Now this is a moshav that endured the massacre here. 7 of the residents were killed by terror squads that came to this village. 1 border police female soldier was killed as well, trying to defend the village. And Maccabiah Raybi, decided to return to the village a month ago with her family, because as an elderly woman, she felt uncomfortable being in an hotel far away from her house. So she decided to come back, and as a result, her family was dragged here with her because they didn't want to leave her alone here in the moshav. A double trauma for this woman, October 7 and then January 7, 3 months after. And yet this woman is very strong, and you saw, she told you, she took out the stone that was encrusted in her chest and just threw it out of the window. And she's already back home today, barely 12 hours or a bit more after she was hospitalized for a short and brief moment. And she's back home. She won't leave.
Do we know what happened to this family on October 7th?
They were in a private shelter of one of her sons. There were 15 people all together, crammed into a private shelter, because her shelter, the window does not close properly. And she called the Home Front Command many times, telling her, you got to fix that window before October 7. And the Home Front Command said, it's not our responsibility. One of those red tape problems that Israel has been facing for a long, long time, especially the residents of the south. So they crammed themselves into the sun's shelter. Luckily, the shelter was new and there was a locker inside the shelter. So when the terrorists came, they tried to open the shelter. They didn't manage, so they left and killed other residents. Now, they stayed for over 12 hours in that shelter from October 7 at 6:30 or 7 a.m. when the rockets started falling like a flood, and then until the next morning.
Pierre Clochendler, thank you very much.